Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kate and this is Everybody Try. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. That helps me out a lot. First, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone for all your support on my last video in the decision to withdraw from Chattanooga. It definitely ended up being the right decision for me. Second, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It has definitely been a tough month, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's really hard for me to show up here when things are not going well, but it's also just as important for me to show the lows as it is for me to show the highs. So here we go. Actually, before we get into it, I feel like I need to kind of give a warning here that we will be discussing intentional weight loss in this video. So if that is not for you, I totally understand. No hard feelings. Feel free to skip this one. But just a heads up that there is going to be discussion about that in this video and kind of going forward as well. So whatever you have to do to look out for you is fine with me. That being said, let's get into it. Picking up where we left off in my last video, I was rehabbing my back for about a week and a half, just basically doing a lot of strength training and a lot of walking. Then about a week ago, in the midst of me trying to rehab my back injury and getting back into things, I actually hurt my knee. Well, I didn't hurt it like a direct injury, but essentially an overuse injury popped up. My PT was out of town, and so I ended up having to find a new PT near me, and he confirmed that I have something called patellofemoral or patellofemoral, I've heard people pronounce it both ways, pain syndrome. And basically that's an overuse injury in your knee. It's also called runner's knee. It basically impacts your kneecap. And it can be from overuse, like I said, it can be from muscle imbalance or weakness in the quads. So still trying to get to the bottom of what it exactly is causing it for me, but I have actually had it in my right knee before, never in my left knee. And so in my mind, there's no way that can't be related to the stuff going on with my back, because that was in my back and on the left side. So in my mind, it has to be related, but still trying to figure that out and kind of piece it all together. But that injury was another one that really just totally took me out. I couldn't completely straighten my knee and I couldn't bend it more than 45 degrees. So basically couldn't do anything, including walking, definitely not strength training. But I made it to the PT. He did some manual adjusting on my kneecap, some dry needling in my quads, and that really kind of helped kickstart it's starting to recover. And over the last few days, I went for a swim. I've done some upper body strength, and that all has felt really good. So I'm feeling like hopefully I'm finally on the other side of injury and I can kind of get back into things. And I just plan to kind of go all in on strength training, rehabbing, and prehabbing to make sure this is not flaring up again, because it has not been fun. And that brings us to what's next. So here is where we actually have kind of a shift in my goals for the season, and it's actually a pretty big shift. I have made the decision to pull back on my racing goals for this year and change focus to trying to lose some fat and build some muscle, and then come back strong in the half Ironman distance for the 2026 season. I'm going to get into what that looks like for me, but there are a few things I want to say first. One, it means that I will be pulling back on all half Ironman racing for this year. So I will not be racing another half Ironman for this season, which is a change from what I thought my season would look like. But I will be doing at least one sprint and I think an Olympic this summer. So we will still be triathlon training. Number two, I actually made this decision prior to Chattanooga. And the idea was going to be that Chattanooga would then be my one half Ironman race for the season. Obviously, that's not the way that it worked out, unfortunately, but I had made this decision prior to that race. And this decision has nothing to do with the injuries that have come up since right before Chattanooga. Three, this is really hard for me to talk about on here, and I want to spend some time talking about why that is. When I first started this channel, it really was because I saw a need or a void in the triathlon YouTube space. I didn't see other plus size women or men documenting their training journey, and I was frankly looking for that, right? I was looking for channels of people training who look like people who look like me training for triathlon. I didn't really find that, and so I decided I would start my own channel. The other reason is because I really wanted to show people that you don't have to wait until you're at your goal weight or your goal body type or your goal body composition in order to start training for triathlon if that is something that you want to do. I understand the pain and the difficulty of waiting and feeling like you have to wait until you are the perfect body size in order to do this. And I just wanted to show people that it's possible to do it at the size you are right now and to get started no matter what your goals are, whether you do have a desire to lose weight or you don't. The absolute last thing I would ever want anyone to take away from this video is that I am saying that you have to lose weight in order to do triathlon, in order to do half Ironman, or really whatever distance you want to do. You don't, and I think that I have proven that through the races I've already done. The other reason it's kind of hard to come on here and talk about this is that, frankly, I personally feel like, especially in the online space, there seems to only be two camps of people that talk about fat people or people in bigger bodies. And that is one, people who think like fat bodies are disgusting and that you should be losing weight and you should be trying to lose weight and you need to lose weight in order to be healthy and happy and all those things, right? And just, you know, fat people who hate their bodies and, you know, want to be smaller and say a bunch of things that are, frankly, fat phobic and kind of toxic and disordered, right? The other camp of people seems to be purely body positivity, and, you know, those folks say that any intentional weight loss is toxic and fat phobic and bad, right? And those are obviously two extremes, but I think they're often the two loudest voices in this discussion, even though I know that there are more people in between those two extremes. And I really feel like I fall in between those two extremes, right? I am not saying, and I will never be saying, that fat bodies are less deserving or can't be athletic or anything like that. This is a body inclusive triathlon training channel, and it always will be. But I feel like I have gotten to the point where any gains I'm making seem to be very slow and very hard to come by. And I'm just curious what it could look like and what kind of improvements I could make with triathlon if I had less fat on my body and more muscle. And that is what I want my focus to be. Don't get me wrong, I'm never going to be thin. I'm always going to be in Athena. Even when I was at my lowest weight, I was still qualified for the Athena category by plenty of weight. And so this is going to continue to be a channel about body inclusivity in triathlon. The next part of this is that I am taking a GLP1 medication to help with fat loss. I have been taking a GLP1 since the end of January. I had always intended on coming on here and talking about that at some point, but I needed to take a little bit of time to figure out how I wanted to talk about it and sort of what the boundaries were that I wanted around that. At the end of the day, the thing is that this is never going to be a weight loss channel, right? I'm never going to be doing weigh-ins. I'm never going to be doing what I eat in a day, but I do plan on talking about it, and I do want to talk about it. I think there are a lot of people in the endurance space that are curious about training and being on a GLP-1. And I feel like I have a little bit of experience with that now and some things to share about it. And so I do plan on talking about that on my channel. But like I said, this is never going to be a pure weight loss channel because that's just not, I don't know, what I feel called to talk about on here. I do plan on sharing that part of the journey. It's just not going to be all of it. It's all going to be about triathlon training for me. And right now that includes taking this GLP-1. Like I said, I have been taking it since the end of January, and I have lost about 18 pounds since then, which is certainly nothing to turn my nose up at. It's not a insignificant amount of weight by any means, but I really feel like at this point, I would like to take a step back from training for the half Ironman distance because I feel like those bigger sessions are making it harder to figure out and meet kind of nutritional goals and macro goals and all of that. So I think it's what makes sense for me right now. Again, I want people to hear that I'm not saying that it is not possible to be on a GLP-1 and train for half Ironman. I know it is. I know people do it. So it's not impossible. It's just that I feel for me, this was the best thing. I was finding that in those longer sessions, specifically the longer rides and the longer runs, it was just getting really hard to figure out how much I should be eating. And when you're on the GLP-1, you can't necessarily go off hunger. Like that's not necessarily a good cue. Well, it isn't, I guess. Maybe we get into that in a different video, but I do think sometimes it obviously impacts your hunger cues. And so it's not something where you can just purely be eating based off hunger, and then just trying to figure out how to fuel for those sessions, but not overfuel and also not underfuel, which is something that I felt was really difficult. And so I think for me, what makes the most sense is to take this step back and then come back stronger in 2026, whatever happens, right? Maybe I don't lose weight and then I'll continue as I am now. Maybe I do, and then we figure that out as we go. So that is the update for now. I hope that this is the last video for a long time of just me talking because I enjoy more making the videos about my life and my training. And that's what I plan to get back to with next week's video. Next week's video, I'm gonna show some of the rehab process and the prehab and me turning to focus more on strength and kind of what that's starting to look like for me. So tune in next week if you want to see that. And thank you so much again for following along. And again, I just want to say, if you feel like you came to this channel to watch a fat person train for triathlon and this new angle is not what you came here to see, I totally understand. No hard feelings, I get that. But if you are interested in following along on this sort of new chapter of the journey, please stick around, subscribe, like the video, all that really helps me out. And I hope I see you in the next one.